Hello and welcome to my channel, AB Make It Artworks, where we do what we do to make that artwork for you. So this is part 2 of my art project for Battle Mage, and as you can see, I've fixed the problem with the shaky camera angle and I kind of created a makeshift stand so you can see what I'm doing overall in the piece and not feel any motion sickness from my shaky hand. So today we're working on the outfit, and I decided to go with the theme that she's probably an Earth class kind of mage, that she'll probably work towards elemental objects, or perhaps she's a lower class mage. And with that in mind, I decided to go with more earthy tones of browns and greens. And right now I'm working on the sort of leather straps on her shoes in a light walnut. I went over most of the outfit with a Spectrum Noir marker in the color EB3, which is a sort of brown color that leans more towards the yellow spectrum of browns. And, well, light walnut, which was used for the straps, is a type of brown that leans more towards the red kind of spectrum of browns. Right now you can see that I'm going over the mid sash with a spring green in Prismacolor, and you may be wondering, why didn't you do a base coat over that part? And the reason for this was because I didn't want the colors to muddle. I wanted it to be a rather vibrant, bright green instead of a muted tone that kind of meshed well better with the brown of the corset. Because I do plan on having her skirt be some vibrant greens, whereas the corseted top is browns and leathers instead. So right now I'm working in with a lime green for most of the skirt, and the belt is going to be a darker green. And I wanted to work in a few different shades or tones of green, because I figured that would create more interest in the outfit and just add a bit more dimension to the fabrics in it. Also, when I found skirts that looked similar in style, the mid-sash and belt would either be of the same color and material or a different color, and I thought it looked better with different colors. So as you can see, I'm going in with the little nubbin of the Prismacolor marker. And by a certain point, I just got tired of that, so I go with the big clunky side, the chisel tip. So as some of you may know, like old Prismacolor markers had only a fine tip and a chisel tip. And chisel tips aren't terrible to work with. I do prefer Copics, but like I said in the last video, I don't have my Copics with me. So going into areas with a chisel tip can be very gratifying when you fill in big spaces, and you can just use that little tip to work into really tiny areas too. Now, I think I'm going over in sand to make some shadows and darken the lower parts of the corseted top. And something I forgot to mention in the last video that I put in in the down bar or the information area is that there was actually a 5th reference used, and that was in regards to her belt, which is a Obi-Wan style belt, which I thought was interesting. I thought kind of added some shapes, broke up the corseted top, but also emphasized the shape of her waist, creating more of an hourglass figure. But yeah, there's not much I can really say about the colors that I used. A lot of them were used for the skin tones, aside from the green tones that I use in her skirt, which is mainly a bunch of layering, because I don't have a great variety of greens. I try to layer what greens I have and then blend them out. And if you ever find that like you don't have enough greens, you can always go in with a blue that's similar in tone to create more shadow, because blues can darken greens, but you have to be careful that the blue isn't too light, because if the blue is too light or the blue is too pigmented, it'll cause a bleed where the green completely vanishes. So in the instances of the lime green skirt, I did go over with a blue to make some shadows a bit more emphasized, because layering in wet on dry wasn't giving me enough shadow. It wasn't getting it as dark as I wanted to, as fast as I wanted it to. So eventually I did have to work in some blues or darker greens and then blend that out with the lime green so that it didn't seem too intense. Other than that, still open for suggestions on whether there should be a background, what you guys think that background should be, and if you have any great suggestions, I would love to see them in the comment section. And yeah, right now we're working on that midsection of the belt, back to the drawing, with the lime green to emphasize the deeper folds. And I didn't want to work too much on this mid-sash because it is a brighter color. And I also didn't want to like overemphasize the area between the legs, because I've had instructors tell me that will ask, why do you put so much emphasis towards that region, towards the pelvic region, that either emphasize strong feminine power or overtly sexualizes them? You're a female subject. And I thought that's kind of interesting because I never saw that. So naturally, I think that fabric goes towards that region and that it has a tendency to clump up, but sometimes you can inadvertently draw the eye to areas you don't want it to. So that's sort of why I didn't put too much emphasis in darkening the folds near there and just worked all around. We're at the end of the video right now, so have a great day and make sure to do what you do to make that artwork for you.